Hi there, my name's Penny Bridges and Maya has graciously allowed me to talk with you a little bit today as we talk about the Beatitudes. I was going to put some cream on my hands today, but you know what? It's hard to find cream because I seem to have run out of everything. Have you ever run out of something like that? Maybe you've run out of shampoo or toothpaste or maybe breakfast cereal. I wonder what you did about that. I'm going to have to go and find some more hand cream after I've talked with you. Well, today we're talking about the Beatitudes, about one of the sayings that Jesus offered people on the mountain. There was a huge crowd following Jesus, and we're going to be part of that crowd. Jesus sees these people following him, and he sees their hurts and their pains, and he sees ours as well. And he cares for them and for us in many, many ways. First of all, Jesus leads them to a mountain, and we're going to climb that mountain. There are lots of different ways to climb. You might remember them from other videos. You can hike. You can march with your feet, or you could march with your fingers if you just want to pretend. You can use ropes to haul yourself up the steep bits. You could roll using a hiking wheelchair, or you could climb by yourself or with a friend. It's always safer to climb with a friend, by the way. So pick your way to go up the mountain, and if you're ready, we'll climb. Here we are. We made it to the top of the mountain. It's quite a climb, isn't it? Let's find a seat and just settle our bodies after that big climb. And now in your imagination, let's look around at all the things we can see. Wow, from the top of the mountain, you can see a very long way. I can see the ocean. I can see the fishermen plying their nets. And a bit closer, I can see sheep and goats. I can see the city all spread out below with all the people. So much to see from a mountaintop. You know, in Jesus's time, a lot of people believed that mountains were holy and special places to be with God. There are a lot of stories in the Bible about mountaintop experiences. I wonder why they thought they were holy. Maybe it's because they were so high. They were reaching up into the sky where God might be. How high can you reach up into the sky? Can you stretch your arms up all the way? Go up on tiptoe? See if you can reach the ceiling? See how high you can stretch. It feels good, doesn't it? So Jesus told the people about God's kingdom while he was on this mountain. You can think of a kingdom as the way the world works. Who's in charge of the world, or of your part of the world? The way things are set up so that you've got bosses and people who work for the bosses. In God's kingdom, it's a different kind of kingdom. And there is what we call abundance. More than enough. More than enough honor, more than enough food, more than enough money, love and power and resources for every child of God to thrive. Nobody is going to run out of love, money, power, food, or honor in this kingdom, in God's kingdom. And Jesus says this, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Do you know what it means to mourn? It's to feel sad about something, especially when somebody you know has gone away forever. Maybe your pet has died. It's when you cry and you miss them. There were people in Jesus's time, just like there are today, who were taught that crying was something to be ashamed of or embarrassed about, that mourning showed weakness, that it meant you were too vulnerable. Vulnerable is a word that means open to being hurt, having an open heart. Many of the rich and powerful people in Jesus's time spent their time trying not ever to cry or to show sadness. They were focused on gathering money and gathering control and power so that they would feel strong and unshakable. They were afraid of being vulnerable, of having an open heart. I bet everyone here has cried before. I have. I've cried many times. Why do you think people cry? I cried when my sons were born. I cried when my cat died. I cried at my son's wedding. How about you? Crying shows that we are alive, that we are awake, that we are aware, that we are open. Crying shows that we're brave. Crying shows that we are willing to feel pain, our own and somebody else's. When I hear someone tell their sad story, sometimes I cry for them. So don't try to block the pain around you. Don't keep your distance from it. Be open. Open your heart and allow yourself to cry. Tears and crying are important, especially when what makes us cry is painful or is hard to hold. It's also a beautiful way that we connect with God. Did you know that God cries too? Jesus cried during his time on earth. God cries for everyone. God's heart is wide open and it holds all the pain of everyone who hurts, wherever they are in the whole world. When we cry, it's a way of sharing in God's heart. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Jesus promises us here that God will comfort us when we cry, when we mourn, when we are sad, when we grieve. And Jesus promised that God would bring comfort and make things right for all the people listening, all those people who couldn't provide for their needs, no matter how hard they tried. Maybe they weren't able to feed their children, even though they worked really hard, and they cried about that. Maybe they were told they didn't belong because who they were, with what they've done. Maybe they struggled because the way the world is organized, is set up, harms them. And that caused them to cry and to grieve, to be sad for what they were missing out on. You know, one way God brings comfort is through you. When you offer your hand or loving words, especially to someone who's sad, you are God's comfort to that person. Crying together and being vulnerable, open, always helps us belong with each other. And it brings us close to God. And that's what Jesus asks of us, to love each other and to love God. In Jesus's time, being blessed meant to be happy, to be honored. It was just an amazing thing. Blessed are those who mourn. This is an amazing and wonderful thing. So this is a time when I'm going to offer you a blessing so that you know how wonderful it is to feel blessed. So I'm going to ask you to put your hands out, open them up, just as your heart is open. Open your hands to receive the blessing. And before we transition to our next activity, I'm going to offer you this blessing. And this is a gift for you. And that's why you're opening your hands, so that you can receive the gift. I'm going to speak it a couple of times. And as I say it, if you receive it, take that blessing and put it in your heart. May God bless you when you laugh and when you cry. For God understands all your feelings. May God bless you when you laugh and when you cry. God understands all of your feelings. Thank you for being with me. It's been fun to talk to you. And here are some questions for you to talk about with each other. Share a story about a time when you cried. Why did you cry? What happened? What do you remember? And after you cried, how did you feel? Did you feel better or worse? And then think about and share, how can you be God's comfort to someone this week? Tell a story about how when you cried and what happened. Share how you felt after you cried. And think about how you can be God's comfort to someone this week. God bless you.